My name's Siobhan Sinnott. I work as a Child Health Programme Development Officer with the HSE. I'm also a mum of 4 children whom I've breastfed, and I'm delighted to be here today with Jenny and her baby Oisín, Stephanie Murray, Nuria, Tasies and Alexandra, Fenton. To celebrate National Breastfeeding Week this year, from the 1st to the 7th of October, the theme being Feeding the Future, Supporting Breastfeeding Through a Pandemic and Beyond. We're here today to let you know about the services that are available to pregnant and breastfeeding mothers in County Wexford. So Jenny, I'm absolutely delighted to have you here today. Thank you so much for coming here and with your beautiful baby Oisín. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And Jenny, you're breastfeeding at the moment.
I am, yes.
Yes. So can you tell us a little bit about how breastfeeding is going for you?
This time around really well.
Okay.
I do have another child who's 3, and that time around I did have a few challenges. But I reached out to the Friends of Breastfeeding and the Leash League. But then, even though I was in those groups, I felt like I needed a bit more professional help, so I went to a lactation consultant because I suffered quite a bit with mastitis and then cracked nipples and everything, and just sometimes getting the latch I wasn't really getting. So that really helped. Which this time around it's just flying by.
And how did the lactation consultant help you, Jenny?
She just taught me with the positioning that I needed to do, and hearing the guzzling, the clicks that he needed to do, and then my nipples were 100% better then.
So you found that really supportive.
Really helped.
Great.
Yeah.
And like I just find it really interesting that despite all those challenges that you came across when you were breastfeeding your first baby, you decided to breastfeed your second baby. So what is it about breastfeeding, Jenny, that made you want to breastfeed your second baby?
Well, it's just very convenient.
So convenience.
Yeah, it's
yes,
very convenient.
Of course,
I don't have to worry about prepping the bottles or anything.
Yeah,
like you can just
the milk
feed in
comes
on the go.
everywhere with
exactly,
you.
Yeah, which is really, really handy. And then when I was in Australia, I seen the 2 families that I worked for as an au pair. They breastfed, and I just thought that was great because I didn't grow up in England seeing anybody with breastfeeding.
Yes.
So when I seen that, I was like, oh, I'd love to try that when I finally have children.
Yeah, so that really encouraged you to try it then. So you almost made up your mind before you'd had your babies to try your breastfeeding.
Yeah, I loved seeing the connection that they had, which was great.
Wonderful. Yeah. Okay. Well, that sounds absolutely wonderful, Jenny, and the very best of luck, and thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you.
Stephanie, it's wonderful to have you here today. Thank you for being with us, and a big congratulations on your new specialist lactation post in Wexford. So tell us, what does this new post mean for the people of County Wexford?
Well, firstly, Siobhan, just to say thanks for having me here today. I'm honoured, and I'm more honoured to be here in the post as lactation consultant representing our unit, because it's something that we really have waited for in the unit for some time, so thank you for that. And what a better time, how apt but the National Breastfeeding Week to promote this new service that we have in our unit. So thanks. So in relation to what is the big benefit for women obtaining the service, well, I would say the biggest gain would be the dedicated hours. So it's 39 hours, so it's a full-time post dedicated to lactation support. So exactly what the service needs and deserves. So I suppose the main roles that I would have that would be a part of my new job would be, I would say, education of staff. So it's really important that all staff across the board have the same information, standard information, up-to-date, evidence-based information to give to women reaching out for support. Because there was a report recently only by mothers called Bonnie Baha, which is actually Milk for Life, Osqueliga, and their big ask was to ensure that all staff were educated and given the same information, because this cuts out and eliminates the whole area of conflicting information. So this is a big deterrent and a very obvious one that's shown in the research as to why women stop their breastfeeding journey prematurely.
Okay. So everyone's singing from the same
hymn sheet. And I believe also the fact that I will be linked with the community, so with the GPs and the public health nurses, that also this is another area whereby if they have any concerns they can link in with me also and get this evidence-based information, and that the women are hearing the same thing across the board. So I think this will be a big part, as well as my part in educating staff and having information, developing policies around breastfeeding scenarios. So to have these policies available for staff on the unit when they come across certain situations, that it's at hand, and this will be another big part, as well as, I believe, helping the staff with more complex breastfeeding scenarios, and because they might not have the time to be able to deal with it or the expertise. So in this scenario, that's another big benefit and gain to the women obtaining our service.
Okay, that sounds absolutely wonderful, Stephanie. So tell me, Stephanie, what kind of supports are available for the pregnant and breastfeeding mother when they attend your services?
So all women are entitled to an antenatal education session. So
what do you mean by that, an antenatal
So
session?
it means whilst pregnant that the women can, in the clinic, they'll be given a contact details for the service. So it's currently during COVID we switched to virtual classes. So we do virtual online class on breastfeeding, information, benefits, challenges, various information that we feel is necessary for women to be able to start their journey and to know where to reach out for supports in the community. Also at the clinics, they're an ideal opportunity. At each of your antenatal visits, there's a midwife there to be able to chat to you about any concerns you have. But I feel me in post now, if there's something individual or something more worrying for you as an individual that you would like to discuss in more depth, that, you know, that service is always there for you to be able to look out for me and reach out, and I can hopefully be able to meet somebody on an individual basis also before having their baby. Once on the ward, once after delivery, I would hope, and I do know that all the midwives in the unit are very supportive and willing to help any women who choose to breastfeed, that they would be supporting women using evidence-based information. And that if there was more complex cases, that they would be able to reach out for me as lactation consultant to support them in that. And the big thing for Wexford Hospital, which we've not had before, so it's big for us but it's bigger for the women, is that there will be a postnatal service now, a dedicated day every week whereby I can run a breastfeeding clinic. So any women that want to link back in with us up to 6 weeks, that service will be there too. So I think that would be great going forward.
That's absolutely wonderful. And tell me this, Stephanie, that if a pregnant mum has any concerns and wants to contact you directly, what's the best way to get you?
So as you just mentioned, Siobhán, it is a new service, but so there will be a phone number that women will be able to use to contact me directly, but also we hope to have a dedicated email lactation support address that will be available to women on discharge. Also it will be promoted through various different social media and in our antenatal clinic. So down the line they will have something whereby that they can link with me individually if they want also, so that will be good too.
Fantastic. So Stephanie, very best of luck with your new post.
Thank you, Siobhán.
So Nuria, it's great to have you here today. You are the manager of the Domino Midwife service in Wexford General Hospital. So do you want to tell us a little bit about the Domino service, please?
Thank you, Shivan. First of all, thanks again for inviting us to this session and to inform the women of Wexford of what's out there. The Domino service has been in Wexford General for the last 20 years. Many women and babies have available the service, and it has grown, and now we can say that it's looking after about 30% of the pregnant women that attend services, the maternity services in Wexford. What we offer is midwifery-led care, so normal risk pregnancies on healthy women, and we look after them throughout the whole pregnancy. They deliver in the hospital as everybody does, and then they can avail of their early transfer home. We also have a home birth service that's quite limited because our staff numbers are restricted, but that's basically it.
Great. And how can a pregnant mum access the Domino services, Nuria?
So simply just give us a call to our office in the Herbert M1. The service runs, it's there every day from 9 to 5. They can leave a message and we'll call them back. They can be referred by their GP, but by their consultant if they are seen the first time in the consultant-led clinics. And also if they attend the early pregnancy assessment unit, they can refer them to us. So it's simple enough, yeah.
And tell me a little bit about how the Domino Midwife supports the pregnant mum to breastfeed.
As Stephanie mentioned already, the antenatal clinics are a perfect situation to discuss anything related to infant feeding, any kind of infant feeding. And if the woman has had difficult journeys in the past, or they have any questions as first-time moms, we do have the time and the knowledge to discuss all that with them. As Stephanie mentioned as well, if there is special circumstances or situations, then we would refer the women to her, or we would spend a little bit more time as well. So it's a bit of a tailored service to the woman,
which is fantastic. And you mentioned the early transfer home service. Can you tell me a little bit about that, please, Nuria?
So early transfer home is going home after having your baby within 6 to 24 hours. And traditionally it was always like that. And we would see the woman once or twice in their home, and then the public health nurse then takes over their care. Since early 2020, so before the pandemic, the early transfer home then was expanded and offered to all the women who had their babies in the hospital, including women who had uncomplicated cesarean sections. So they could go home on day 3 after 48 hours if everything was well. So obviously, like everything, it's a selection criteria there that makes sure that mommy and baby are well. But very popular because the pandemic was a struggle and everybody wanted to go home back to their families as quick as possible. So at least they had the extra support of a midwife calling to their homes. Which in early days, especially with breastfeeding mommies, that they felt that loneliness, it was a great support.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, to have you come into the house and give that one-to-one support to continue breastfeeding. Great. And Nuria, you mentioned, that we have the early discharge home, and then also there's the public health nurse service as well. So with the public health nurse service, as you know, the public health nurse, will contact the mum when she comes home, and will arrange a time to come to the house, and will support the mum in continuing to breastfeed. And if there are any challenges, she'll set up a care plan, and the public health nurse can also refer to many of the breastfeeding support groups that we have in County Wexford.
That's it. I have to say that we were very close to the public health nurse. There is a good communication between us. So if they have a challenging situation, up to now that Stephanie's post wasn't there, the lactation consultant post, they could have referred them back to us. Many times we had sent women back to the Herbert to support them on their breastfeeding journey. So it's great now that it's going to be something established and settled to support these women. But we were very close together. And likewise, if I had seen a lady at home and I have any concerns, I would contact the public health nurse to give her heads up of the situation as well.
So very integrated, joint service. Great. Thank you so much, Nuria, for talking with us. We're delighted to have Alexandra Fenton, breastfeeding counsellor with Ciudiu, here with us today. So you're very welcome, Alex. So tell us a little bit, Alex, about Ciudiu and how Ciudiu supports the breastfeeding mother.
So thanks, Siobhán, for having me. Absolutely delighted to be in this promotion video. So Ciudiu is a volunteer charity organisation who provide evidence-based support and information for parents all across Ireland to make sure they can make informed choices regarding their parenting and breastfeeding journey. Regarding breastfeeding, Ciudiu provides breastfeeding counsellors like me, and we are available for phone support, and during the pandemic we have virtual support groups. Most of them run through Zoom, where mothers then can chat to each other and to me like they would have previously done in in-person meets.
Okay, so it's a voluntary position, Alex. So tell me a little bit, why you wanted to become a breastfeeding counsellor and what kind of training that you needed to do to work with Ciudiu as a breastfeeding counsellor.
Yeah, no problem. So really what made me want to train to become a counsellor myself was my own experience with my own children. When I breastfed them, I went to the Ciudiu breastfeeding support groups, which were in person at the time, of course, and it was nice there to meet other breastfeeding mothers, chat to mothers about the situations that you encounter when you're breastfeeding, realize that I wasn't the only one who was encountering, and I wouldn't even say challenges, but just all these questions that you have when you breastfeed, and around you not many people are breastfeeding. And then of course to have the support from the breastfeeding counsellors, which was then more specific to when I had a question. So the training involved is 2-year training, which is supported by the HSE, and then once qualified, you have to attend, or you should attend, one training day a year just to be up to date with evidence-based breastfeeding research.
fantastic. And is this a free service, Alex, for mums?
So the breastfeeding
Yeah.
support service is free for all mothers, and what's really important is that all the breastfeeding counsellors' contact details are listed on the Ciudiu.ie website, and no matter where you are, you can ring any of the counsellors. So if, for example, I can't pick up the phone because of whatever reason, maybe the next person who might be in Wexford but might be somewhere else might be able to pick up the phone and give you valuable phone support. So that's really important to know that wherever you are, you can ring any of the counsellors at any time, including evenings, also including weekends when other services mightn't be available.
That's just a really fantastic support for breastfeeding mums. And where can parents get more information about Ciudiu, Alex?
So the main website, Ciudiu.ie, would have general information, and as I said before, all the contact numbers for the breastfeeding counsellors. More locally, we have Ciudiu Wexford is on Facebook and Instagram. So regarding, for example, the online meetups or even my contact details, they would be updated regularly, and mums can find them there.
Great, that's absolutely fantastic, Alex. And I know that we also have other community breastfeeding support groups in County Wexford, like Lactation, like Friends of Breastfeeding. And my understanding is that, you know, no matter what part of the county you're in, irrespective of where the meetings actually happen, you can contact any of those, contact people
that's
for
correct.
those breastfeeding supports. So, so that is a really wonderful service. And as you say, you know, out of, you know, weekends, out of hours time, when, you know, a baby won't choose their time when they have a problem. So, or when the mum is challenged by breastfeeding. So it is wonderful to have those supports. So thanks so much, Alex, for being here with us today.
Thanks for having me.
In addition to all the services that we talked about here today to support the breastfeeding mum, you can also avail of a lactation consultant's advice by emailing on Mychild.ie, or you can live chat with a lactation consultant through the Mychild.ie website also. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank everybody here today, in addition to Sheila Barrett from the Children and Young Person Services Committee and all the staff in Wexford Library. Remember that every breastfeed counts. Enjoy your breastfeeding journey, and happy National Breastfeeding Week.